comfortable position. If you're lying down, keeping the legs straight or bending the knees, whatever feels more comfortable. If you're seated up, then see if you can find a lifted position and try to create space at the front of the belly so that the diaphragm has got a little bit more freedom to move up and down to create an easier, better breath. And then allowing yourself to relax and notice where the breath is. Making sure that I can feel the belly moving with the breath, not the top of the chest. So it's not that panic, rushed breath. It's a nice, deep, relaxed one. The head supported down on the mat if you need that support. If you're lying down, turning the palms to face up, opening the arms out, turning the palms to face up and towards the ceiling, encourage the shoulders to roll out to the front of the chest to open up and relax. And then as you feel the breath is a little bit more settled, the body feels that little bit more relaxed, we're just going to start working through the neck, the cervical spine. I'm going to start tucking the chin in, so I'm going to go into a little skull rock. So I'm going to press the chin towards the back of the throat, just as if I was trying to give myself a double chin, trying to lengthen the back of the neck. And then I'm going to lift the chin up and away from the throat. See if I can try and lengthen the front of the throat. Then I'm going to tuck it in again. And then I'm going to lift it up. So nice and easy movement, making sure that especially on extensions, especially as I'm trying to look up, look behind, it doesn't feel as if the neck is pinching at the back, so there is no pain down the arms or tingling into the fingers, so I'm not compressing any nerve down at the base of the skull. And then same as usual, see if you can play with the tongue. If I push the tongue into the roof of the mouth as I try to look up, it creates just a little bit more stretch, a little bit more traction down the front of the throat. So see if I can try and find a nice good stretch into the back of the neck. And then a nice stretch down the front of the throat. Noticing difference between the right and the left side. I might find that my head is slightly wonky or the stretch feels slightly stronger on one side than the other. As far as I'm sure that the head is centered, then maybe the tension is slightly different right and left side. I'm not going to force anything. Just see if I can relax a little bit more into it. 3, 2, last one, and release it back. Relaxing the neck, releasing the shoulders. There's a little bit more movement through the cervical spine, going in flexion, extension. I'm going to start going into a little rotation. So I'm going to turn to look around one side, come back to the center, and then turn to look around the other way. If you're lying down on the mat, then the shoulders are resting against the mat, so I don't really have to worry about my shoulders moving. They should stay relaxed. Just the head, so just the neck should be moving. If I'm sitting up, because there is nothing behind me, the tendency if the neck is stiff is to try and draw the shoulder back. So I'm turning from the ribcage, I'm turning from further down. See if you can be aware of movement happening in the neck. So I'm going to try and turn the head one way, come back to center, and then I'm going to turn it to the other side. So nothing is pinching, nothing is catching. As I'm moving from one to the other side. Same as you did for the extension flexion, same as you did for your skull rock. Noticing any restriction, noticing any compensation. I might find that my shoulder tends to hitch up slightly when I turn one way, or I can feel a stronger stretch on one side than I feel on the other. Again, I'm not forcing anything, just to see if I can progressively ease off some of the stiffness, playing slightly with the position of the chin, tipping the chin down slightly, or lifting it up slightly, see if I can get a better movement, a better position for the head. 3, 2, 1, and release it back. Returning the head back to the middle. The neck should be feeling a little bit looser. I'm going to try and see if I can try and lengthen it slightly, but this time working sideways. So going for a little lateral drop, a lateral flexion. So I'm going to try and take the right ear down to the right shoulder until I can feel a gentle stretch coming down the side of the neck. Then easing back to the center, the left ear to the left shoulder, creating a gentle stretch down the right side of the neck. And then coming back, and then flex it to the other side. Same as need for the rotation. If you're lying down, the head is on the floor, even when I move it to the side, it's still on the ground, so I don't need to worry about the neck stiffening or the shoulders getting into the movement. If I'm seated up, the tendency is to start shrugging the shoulder up to the head or letting the head come forward if the neck is a little bit stiff. See if I can imagine the back of the head to be resting against the wall. As I flex to the side, my head is still touching the wall. Let's come back to the center. As I flex the other way, my head is still touching the wall. The shoulders are still down. So I'm not shrugging the shoulders up to the head. I'm trying to take the head down to the shoulder. 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, releasing the shoulders, releasing the neck. It's a little bit more movement through the cervical spine. I'm going to see if I can now use the freedom, the space that I've created to help me create a little bit more space across the front of the chest and to the thoracic spine. So I'm going to focus on the arm. I'm going to reach my right arm up, and then I'm going to try and touch either the top of the head or behind the head. So if I'm sitting up, I can get to the back of the head. If I'm lying down, the head is on the floor. So I'm just going to touch the top of the head. And then I'm going to ease the arm down. And then with the other, I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to lift up, trying to get the hand to the top of the head or to the back of the head. And then I'm just going to ease the arm back. And then try the same thing to the other side. So as the arm moves, notice any restriction. Again, if I'm seated up, it's a little bit harder as I've got to work against the gravity. If I'm laying down, it's a little bit easier as I'm not. Gravity is not actually pulling me down, it's helping me to move the arm. I don't want any pain in the shoulder. I don't want any tension into the neck. Making sure that it's the hand this time that is going to the head, not the head that is trying to drop down to the hand. So the head is lifted, the chin is lifted. I'm trying to warm up into the shoulder, and at the same time, imagine almost like a stretch lifting from the center of the rib cage up across the front of the chest and into the shoulder. So think of your pectoral muscles and stretching to allow the hand to reach up. Then exactly the same thing to the other, and exactly the same thing to the other side. And then I might find that one side is a little bit restricted. Play with the position of the arm. So instead of touching the top of the head, can you maybe touch the side of your ear? So opening the arm maybe just a little bit wider to see if I can find a better position, a more comfortable position. 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, releasing the shoulder, feel a little bit warmer through the shoulder joint. I'm going to try again, but this time I'm going to try and see if I can take both arms up at the same time. So I'm going to reach both hands to the side of the head, back of the head, top of the head. I'm going to ease the arm back, and then I'm going to try again. So I'm going to reach both hands, and then I'm going to ease them back. So as the arms go to the head, see if you can be aware of what's happening to the middle of the rib cage, the top of the chest. As soon as I start taking the arms up, the back tends to naturally go into a slight extension. So the thoracic is extending up. The front of the chest is opening out. See if I can encourage that movement. So if I feel that I'm quite tight, because I'm quite binded at the front, maybe a bit rounded shoulder, then I'm going to exaggerate. I'm going to push the chest forward as the arms are coming up, to see if I can create more space for lift at the front. And then if you feel that that still feels quite comfortable, then every time that the hands get to the head, see if you can push the arms back, so see if I can encourage even more opening across the front, and then I'm just going to release back. So I'm going to take the hands towards the head, and then see if I can open up a little bit wider, and then I'm going to ease back. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. And releasing back, releasing the shoulders, releasing the back, giving the head a gentle roll, making sure that we haven't created stiffness into the neck, and the neck still feels reasonably loose, reasonably relaxed. And then I'm going to change the direction of the movement. So the chest feels a little bit more open, the back feels a little bit warmer. I'm going to change extension into a little rotation. So I'm going to reach the right arm straight ahead. With the left hand, I'm going to hook onto the forearm or the top of the arm. Don't press on the elbow so you're not locking the elbow joint. And then I'm going to try and hug that right arm across the front of the chest. As close to the chest as I can feel a gentle stretch going around the shoulder into the back. Then I'm going to release the arm, and the left I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to hook that right hand around that left arm, and then pulling it towards me until I can feel a gentle stretch going around the shoulder, going around the back. And then releasing back, having the right, a little bit closer to the chest, releasing, having the left, a little bit closer to the chest. So see if I can try and loosen up a little bit more behind the shoulder towards the middle of the back. And then as you feel that the movement starts feeling a little bit looser, so the shoulder feels a little bit better, the pull at the back is not that strong anymore, and you want to make it a little bit more challenging, then see if you can, at the same time, I'm going to try and pull the arm towards me, but with the arm, I'm going to resist and push away. That should give the back of the shoulder a little bit more of a stretch. Then I'm going to release, I'm going to pull it towards me with one arm, and then I'm going to try and push away at the same time. And then release, and then same to the other side. 4, 3, 2, last one. And releasing back, releasing the shoulders. So hopefully a little bit more ease at the back of the shoulder. I'm going to try and see if I can rotate now. So I'm going to reach both arms to the front, keeping them apart or clasping the hands together. And then I'm going to start to swing gently from one side over to the other. If you're seated, you've got space, as there's nothing behind you prevent you from turning. So I'm going to try and turn as far one way as I can, as far the other way as I can. So really trying to free the thoracic spine. I can even keep my arms across the chest, as the arms are not that important. If you're lying down, you're a little bit limited for space as your back is resting against the floor, but I can still encourage as much rotation as possible as I roll from one shoulder over to the other. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, Last time. And releasing back, returning the shoulders back to the middle again, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, making sure the same as before, the tension has not started shifting up into the head, into the neck, so the neck still feels quite loose, quite relaxed. And then from rotation, I'm going to go into a little lateral flexion. The same as before, I'm going to try and see if I can release the top of the shoulder first. I'm going to reach the arms nice and long down the side of the body, down along the mat if I'm lying down. I'm going to take a deep breath in as I breathe out. Imagine somebody grabbing hold of your wrist and pulling them down. So I'm going to try and reach the arms as far as I can until I can feel almost like a gentle traction going across the front of the chest, from the collarbone down into the shoulders, down into the arms. Then I'm going to release, and then again. So if I'm seated, imagine suddenly to be carrying two really heavy bags on your hands. So they're going to pull you down, and then I'm just going to release. And again, I'm going to try and reach and release. And then as you're reaching, as both arms are reaching down at the same time, notice the difference between the right and the left side. I might find that my right shoulder drops more than my left, or vice versa, my left more than my right. I might find that one shoulder seems to be popping up slightly, coming forward slightly. See if I can keep both shoulders back, or the chest nice and open. My head might be leaning slightly to one side. See if I can try and keep the head centered, the neck nice and long. 3, 2, last one. And releasing back. So hopefully a little bit more freedom over the top of the shoulder and into the side of the neck. I'm going to try and use the same pull, but this time I'm going to try and add flexion to the pull. So instead of working with both arms, I'm going to work with one arm. If you're laying down, you might want to support the head. So one hand goes behind the head, the other arm reaches down the side. So with the right arm, I'm going to start reaching down the side so I can feel the shoulder dropping. And then this time, I'm going to take the body to the right. I'm going to reach as far to the right as I can. Easing back to the center. Swapping the arms if I'm lying down, and then with that left arm, I'm going to reach as far down the left as I can. And then back to the center, and then over to the right again. Back to the center, and then to the left. So encouraging that nice, easy lateral flexion. Same as usual, imagine 2 sets of pulleys down the side. The right side pulls, I'm going to flex to the right. The left side pulls, I'm going to flex it to the left. So creating a little bit more movement again into the upper back. We'll see if I can free some of the stiffness from between the ribs, into the intercostal muscles, into the side of the waist, even down the side of the hip, if I can feel the stretch reaching that far down on the side of the body. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, returning the back in the middle. Hopefully the upper body feels a little bit looser, a little bit more relaxed. I'm going to try and work into the hip joint. I'm going to grab hold of a cushion, a towel, a ball if you've got a ball, and then I'm going to pop it between the knees. If I don't have anything handy, I can use my hands. I'm just going to clench the fist and then put in the fist on the inside of the legs to create a little resistance, to create a little focus. I'm going to shuffle the feet nice and close together, and then as the ball, as the object is set between the knees, I'm going to start to squeezing into the ball. So I want tension through the inner thigh. I want a little tension that's trying to bring the legs together, and then I'm just going to ease that tension. Then again, I'm going to tense and ease that tension. Same as usual, as I press and release, I might find that I can't feel the legs very well. It feels really stiff. I'm just going to use my hands as a guide. So I'm just going to give a little push from the outside to see if I can try and encourage the leg to move towards each other. And then I'm going to ease back. And then at the same time, noticing the tension between the right and the left inner thigh. So I might find that one side seems to be working more than the other. One side doesn't seem to be working at all. Always focus on the side that seems to be weaker, or doesn't seem to be doing as much. And then I'm going to release back. 5. 4. 3. 2. On the last one, I want you to squeeze into the ball. Hold that tension for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Squeeze a little bit harder. Hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing the tension, relaxing the legs. Giving the legs a little rub, giving the legs a little shake, relaxing through the hips, the inner thigh. And then I'm going to try and reverse the effort. This time I'm going to put, I can put my hand, but it's easier if I put the ball or the towel or the cushion between the right hand and the right thigh. So if I'm seated, I'm just going to put it that way. If I'm lying down, oof, I'm just going to hold it that way. And then what I want you to focus on, see if you can think of the leg pushing to your hand. So I want you to try and squeeze the ball between my hand and my leg, but I want the leg to do the work. And then I'm going to ease that tension. Then again, I'm going to try and pull the leg into the hand and release that tension. So I'm going to try and squeeze and release. So see if I can try and find the connection to the front of the hip, to the front of the belly. I can feel the shoulder, I can feel the arm working too. But what I'm focusing on is see if I can try and create a little lift into that right leg, or little tension into the right leg. As if I'm lying down, my foot is not even lifting off the ground. I'm just trying to squeeze and push as hard as I can. If I'm seated up, exactly the same thing. My foot is not lifting off the ground, but I'm trying to lift that leg up into the hands. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, relaxing the hip, releasing the arm. I'm going to try the same thing with the left side. So I'm going to put the cushion, the ball, or the hand directly onto the thigh, onto the leg. And then with the hand I'm going to resist down. With the leg, I'm going to try and lift up. So squeeze in the ball and release. Squeeze in the ball and release. So same as on the other side. See if you can be aware of that tension into the front of that left hip, into that left side of the belly, helping me to try and create that tension between the hand and the leg. 3, 4, relaxing the neck. 5, making sure that you're not clenching your teeth. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And and releasing back, relaxing the hip or releasing the leg. So hopefully a little bit more activation through the front of the hip too. What I want is a little bit more activation into the side of the leg this time. So I'm going to set the ball, set the pillow, set the hand if you want to by the side of the leg. So if I'm seated, it's quite easy as I can get my hand comfortably to the side. If you're laying down, it shouldn't be too bad. If you need to, moving slightly to the right, just flexing slightly to the right, then making sure that you're keeping the head on the ground, so I'm not trying to lift the head up. And then from there, I'm just going to push the leg into the ball. So I'm going to squeeze out this time. With the arm, I'm going to resist, so the arm is working again, as well as the leg. I'm going to ease the pressure, and then again, I'm going to push out into the ball and ease the pressure. So think of a little squeeze, release, squeeze, release. So again, it doesn't require a massive movement. There is very little movement happening here. But what I can focus on is the tension between my arm and the hip, trying to press against each other. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back, relaxing the arm, releasing the leg. I'm going to try the same thing on the left. So I'm going to push the ball, the hand, or the towel between the leg and the arm, and then I'm going to push out into the ball. Then relax, and then again I'm going to push out and relax again. Same as you did on the other side, making sure that you're not shrugging the shoulders to the head, so the neck is not stiffening, it's not tensing, it's just the arm. I'm going to resist with the arm and a little push out with the leg. Then release, and then again, resist with the arm and a little push out with the leg. And release again. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back, releasing the shoulders, relaxing the arms, relaxing the legs. So there's a little bit more connection through the side of the leg too. What I want now is to try and get a little bit more into the back of the leg. So it doesn't matter if I'm sitting or lying down. What I want to focus on, I want to imagine, is to think of dragging your right foot along the floor. So I'm not trying to lift it, I'm not trying to walk it, I'm just going to drag it along the floor. So the foot won't be moving much, but what I should be feeling is a little tension this time into the back of the leg as I'm trying to pull the foot towards my bum against the resistance of the mat. I can feel the hamstring working. Then I'm going to ease that tension, and then with the left I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to try and drag the foot towards the back of the chair, towards the hips, and then I'm just going to relax. Then drag the right and relax. So keeping the foot on the floor, so trying to create friction on the mat. See if I can feel that little bulking popping up at the back of the leg on the right, and then on the left side. On the right, and then on the left side. And then at the same time, as I'm trying to drag the foot towards the hip, see if I can also be aware of the connection through the belly. So the belly is working to help me stabilize the pelvis. Otherwise, as I try to drag the leg towards me, all of the pelvis will kind of like go wonky and twist to the side. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. And releasing back, relaxing the leg, releasing the hip, making sure that the back of the leg doesn't feel tight, it doesn't feel as if it's going to cramp up. And then I'm going to switch the effort one more time. Knees down, instead of focusing on the back of the leg, I'm going to try and focus on the back of the bum. And then instead of trying to pull, I'm trying to squeeze my way up. So if I'm lying down, I'm going to squeeze my bum cheeks together and then try to get the hips to lift away from the ground, going as high up into that lift as the body will allow me to go. And then I'm just going to ease my way back down. If I'm sitting on the chair, same as usual, imagine to be wanting to stand off the chair. I'm going to squeeze with my bum cheek, I'm going to lean forward onto the legs, onto the table if I've got something in front of me, and then I'm going to try and lean forward as if I was trying to stand off the chair, and then I'm just going to ease back. So I'm going to come forward, and then ease back. So think of a tiny, tiny little movement that is encouraging the glutes to brace, to squeeze, to work, to create that hip extension, and then coming back. If you can lift, physically lifting, so resting the hands on the chest, if I can create that little lift, and then I'm just going to sit back on my chair. And then again, that little lift, and then sitting back on the chair. And so see if I can work through the hips as much as possible, really exaggerating the tension, so really feeling the back of the bum squeezing to create that lift, and then I'm just going to release it back. 3 more times, so I'm going to squeeze my way up, and then release back down, 2, and back, last one, and releasing down. Giving the legs a little walk, making sure that the back of the leg doesn't feel too stiff, it doesn't feel too tight. And then I'm going to try and see if I can get now upper and lower body to play together a little bit. So I'm going to bend the knees, walk the feet back to a comfortable distance. I'm going to picture a string that goes from my right hand to my right leg and my left hand to my left leg. So I'm going to try and pocket the legs. So I'm going to start raising the right arm up, and then I'm going to lift the right leg off the ground if I can. Then I'm going to ease that right side back, and then with the left, I'm going to pull on the left leg, see if I can create a little lift onto that left side, and then I'm going to pop it back down again. So if I'm seated, again with the right hand, I'm going to try and see if I can create that pull on the right leg, and then with the left hand, I'm going to try and create the pull on the left leg. It doesn't need to be a massive lift, just to see if I can find that connection. So think of that imaginary spring, I'm going to pull it to lift, ease back, and then I'm going to try and pull it to lift to the other side, and then ease back. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing down, relaxing the hip, releasing the arms. I'm going to change the direction of the pulling. I'm still going to use my imaginary strings, but instead of pulling up this time, I'm going to pull out and then back in again. So I'm going to reach the arms up to the ceiling. If I'm lying down on my back, I'm just going to let the hands hover above the knees. If I'm sitting up and then pulling with my right arm, I'm going to open the right arm out, and then I'm going to try and open the leg out too. Then I'm going to pull the arm and the leg back in, and then with that left hand, I'm going to pull that left leg out, and then I'm going to pull it back in again. Same as usual, if the leg is a little bit temperamental, so it doesn't want to move, or I can't feel, I can't find the connection, I can't find the movement, I'm going to use the hands to help me. So I'm just going to push the leg to the side, and then I might push it back in again. I'm going to push the leg to the side the other way, and then I might push it back in again. Just a little in and out movement to work through the hip joint, and then see if I can try and gradually relay less and less on the arm, see if I can, however small it is, and try to move that leg on its own. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, releasing the hips, relaxing the legs, and then I'm going to have a little rest with that. So I feel a little bit of movement into the hips, I feel a little bit more connection between the legs and the arms. I'm going to try and see if I can change the connection slightly. So instead of working same side, this time I'm going to try and see if I can work opposite sides. So this time imagine the string going from your right hand to your left leg, and then from the left hand to the right. So I'm going to start with the lifting again. So I'm going to pull up with the right arm. I want my left knee, my left foot, my left leg to lift. Then I'm going to ease back. I'm going to pull up with my left arm. I want my right knee, my right foot, my right leg to move. And then easing back down again. So same as before, it could be a tiny little movement. It could be a slightly bigger movement if I feel that I've got enough control. It doesn't matter. See if you can feel the connection. This time from the hip across in the belly to the opposite shoulder and into the chest. And then as you keep that lift going, as you keep that pull going opposite sides, just notice the difference. Does it feel easier to move opposite sides, or did it feel easier to move the same side? Did it feel the same? I'm not forcing anything. I'm just going to try and find that coordination. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, releasing the hips, releasing the legs, and then I'm going to try exactly the same thing for the in and out movement. So this time I want my right arm and my left leg to open out. So if I'm laying down, I'm going to raise both arms up to the ceiling. I'm going to open my right arm out to the side and then let my left knee open to the left. Then I'm going to close back to center, and then open that left arm to the left, to the right knee to the right. Close back to center, and then opposite sides. So same as I did before, especially if I'm seated. Then I might want to use my hands. So I'm going to open my right arm, and then guide the left leg out. Then I'm going to close the arm and then guide the left leg back in again. Then opening the right leg and the left arm, and then closing and coming back. So opposite sides, opening and squeezing back in. Opening And then squeezing back in. So a little bit coordination for the brain as well. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. Last one. And releasing back. Releasing the shoulders, releasing the legs, and then shuffling the knees and the feet nice and close together. I'm going to take a deep breath in as I breathe out. I'm going to send right legs to the right, the upper body, the arms are to the left. So I'm going to go for a nice rotation. Come back. I'm going to send the legs to the left, the upper body to the right, rotating the other way. If you sit, same as usual, as your hips are can't really move, but you're sitting on them. So you can use the arms to help you push the legs out of the way. So I'm going to push the legs out of the way, turn to the side, come back, push the legs out of the way, turn the other way, and then coming back. 4. 3. 2. Last one. And releasing back. Releasing the shoulders, readjusting the legs. When you're ready, rolling over onto your side. And in your own time, pushing yourself up into sitting if you're lying down. So finding a comfortable seated position. My hands are down by the side of the hips or slightly behind to offer a little support if you need to. See if I can find my seat bones and then try to lift myself right on top of the seat bones. Then as you feel that the hips are set or the back is set, then see if I can try and encourage that lifting. So I'm going to push the chest forward, I'm going to draw the shoulders back, I'm going to try and open up the front of the body, I'm going to look forward, look up, look back, and then release and coming forward, letting the chin drop down to the chest and the shoulders come forward. I'm going to roll my way down gradually. Then I'm curling back up. I'm going to extend, retracting the shoulders, pushing the chest forward, extending and releasing. Letting the chin drop, the shoulders come forward. I'm going to roll my way down. Last time. I'm curling back up, extending through, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then releasing. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take your back. Give yourself a clap on that. Any question or anything?